Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Coffee with Regina.
I
Angel's
have
got
my
hers.
coffee too. I do. Yes.
Yay!
Yes.
And I have my friend Angel Tuccy with me this morning. And first off, welcome, Angel.
Well, thank you, Regina. I'm excited to be here with you this morning.
Yeah, I am so excited to have you because, I think people need to hear what you've got.
Mm.
I'm going to read straight through your bio because I just love everything that's in your bio. And so Angel is an award-winning speaker, radio host, TV producer, PR media specialist, and the author of 15 bestsellers. She's known for her exceptional expertise in helping her clients with media exposure. Good stuff. And with a track record of personally securing numerous media interviews for her clients, she also spearheads an online podcast network. By the way, that's where I originally met her. It's called Need a Guest. And with over a decade of broadcasting, Angel's accolades include being named Most Influential Woman of the Year and winning awards for the Best Morning Talk Show and Best Talk Show Team. She's got a best-selling book called Get Discovered that offers a step-by-step guide to achieving media exposure in under 90 days. So for all of you who are looking to get some media exposure, listen in. Drawing from her extensive experience of hosting over 2,500 broadcasts and interviewing more than 5,000 guests. She's known as a media matchmaker, and her unique approach to media engagement is what sets her apart in the industry because we're all about being unique around here.
Yes, you are.
So I am so happy to have you here, Angel, because I chat with people all the time. And, I help people in my business with getting their content out there. Mm. And then once we get their content out there and we figure out what we want to say, now it's where are you going to say it?
Right. Good. Yeah. I love that.
And a lot of people are like, okay, well, I'd really like to get on podcasts. Well, maybe I'd like to start speaking. Well, I need to get it in front of more people. And they're like, I have no idea how to do that. Well, I am not the podcast queen or the connection queen for that kind of stuff. However, you are. with what I just read in your bio, oh my gosh, all that connection that you do. So I'm just kind of curious, when you meet somebody for the first time who says, I've never been on a podcast, I don't even know how to connect with people who do that kind of stuff, what do you tell them?
Right. Well, Regina, first of all, my brain just starts automatically trying to connect the dots. I tell people I'm a media magnet, right? Like, how can I put you together? Who do I need to connect you with? Because I'm just always like, how can we get your message out into the world even bigger? And here's the thing, Regina, we all have an amazing story, right? We all are out doing amazing things for our clients, for our community, for our families, and I'm sure you've heard this phrase, we're the best unknown secret or something, right? The best thing you've never heard of. I'm like, that just kills me, right? I don't want you to be a secret. I want everybody to know your name, and maybe not in the world, but in your sphere, right? In your sphere of influence, in your community, in your network. I want, when people hear, I need somebody to help me get my message out, I want them to automatically think, you need to connect with Regina. And I think that's what I've done here in this podcasting community is when somebody says, I want to get booked on more podcasts, my community says, you need to meet Angel. And so that's really what we want to create is this instant note in somebody's brain so that when somebody has a topic, right? And so I think about like, what's your magnet? And what's that key phrase that when somebody hears that, they automatically think of you. And when they think of you, they automatically think of your topic and what you speak on. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. And excuse me, when you said that, my brain started working. And I was like, okay, so before you even get to okay, I want to be on a podcast, there's some prep work that needs to be done. So you need to know what your message is and who your audience is so that by the time they get to you, they go, all right, here's who I want to hook up with. How do I do this?
Yeah, Regina, it's so funny because we meet with people every single day who want to get booked on podcasts. And I ask them, what do you want to speak about on these podcasts? What kind of shows do you want to get booked on? And honestly, deer in the headlights sometimes for them. They're like, oh, well, I don't know what kind of shows. I don't know what I would speak about. I'm like, okay, then why do you want to get booked on podcasts? What are you going to talk about when you get there? And so you do absolutely. It all starts with two things. Like, what are you passionate about and who do you want to connect with? And when you know those two things, and so this does take a little bit of soul searching, maybe working with a coach, working with an expert who can draw this out, because we are always the cobbler shoes. Like, we can see it in other people. Oh, this is what you're great at. This is who you connect with. This is what you do. But when it comes to ourselves, we're like, I don't know. Does anybody want to hear about that? And I remember when I left broadcasting, which was about 6 years ago, I reached out to my speaking coach and I said, do you think that there's an audience out there that might want to learn about media and PR, that might want to learn how to do their own media PR? He's like, are you kidding me? Absolutely. And at the time, Regina, I was the unicorn in the space because there wasn't anybody on the speaking circuit who was teaching people how to do their own PR and get booked on media who had been on the inside. So lots of people who had done it for themselves and said, this is how I'm doing it, but nobody that had been on the inside and was now teaching it. So I got to be a unicorn in the space for a little while in the speaking world. And I don't know why I said that. I lost my train of thought.
Well, when you said that, you actually brought up a couple more things for me. That's why I have to write stuff down so I don't interrupt while people are speaking, because I was like, oh my gosh. So you mentioned something in there when you talked about, everybody, coaches need coaches, and you need to know what you're getting into. So you need to have that prep work, whether you do it with a coach or something else. And then you use the word speaking coach. Now, not many people, a lot of people, they are their life coaches, their business coaches, and all this kind of stuff. And I know a lot of speaking coaches, and they're amazing people. Not a lot of people think about hiring a speaking coach to help them get to where they want to be from a speaking standpoint. Why would you want to use, I know the answer, but I want you to answer it. I want your words. Why would you want to use a speaking coach, especially if you want to get booked on stages, on podcasts, on all this kind of stuff?
So, I think a lot of times people think that, I have a story. I want to be a speaker. Like, I want to share my story. There's a business behind being a speaker. And if you just go about it as, I just want to share my story, you can share it anywhere you want. Stand on a soapbox, right? Speak here, share there. But if you want to actually create a business around being a speaker, you're not going to be able to figure that out on your own. It's going to be really expensive, or it's going to take forever. So I hired a speaker coach because I wanted to make money from speaking. And two things that I think a lot of times when you think about speaking, I'm going to get paid to speak, right? People are going to pay me for my story, which, God bless you, you're so pretty, right? People like to get paid to speak takes it's not your story, right? It's the number of people you can impact. Can you help fill a room? Are you drawing ticket attendees? Are you helping sell from the back of the room? Like, there's a business behind speaking. So for me, my speaker coach, it was the business of speaking. Yes, it was on how to speak from stage, how to craft your message, and there was an element of that. But it was an intensive 5-day camp that I went to that we actually created the business of how to get booked on stages, how to monetize, the whole backside of being a speaker. And so you can hire, I think when people think of a speaking coach, they almost think of how do I project? How do I tell my story? How do I stand on stage? Like, just the actual speech maybe itself. But a true speaker coach will help you to put a whole business around it.
I love that, because you're right. People don't think about that side of it. They're like, yeah, I want to go speak on stage. I want to go share my story. I want to go do a TEDx. I want to go do these things. And they don't necessarily have what am I trying to say here? It's not necessarily skills. They got a story, and they might be able to deliver this story really well. They don't necessarily have the speaking persona. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. they don't have that background. They don't have the rest of the stuff. It's not, like you said, it's not just about going out and telling your story.
Right. I think that, yeah, I mean, with all of it, with any business that you get into, right? I mean, I could start a cupcake business. I could open up a restaurant. Like any business you get into, there are elements of it that I think we come with a lot of passion. Right? Like I have this piece of it that I'm passionate about, but the business side of it is what really kicks our butt. And showing up for yourself and building a business around it every single day. If you want it to be a side hustle or just something you're passionate about, a passion project, share your story. Absolutely. There's no shortage of places to share your story. But professional speakers aren't necessarily, you're not going to like just hit the grand slam of becoming a professional speaker and getting paid enough, right, to sustain your lifestyle right out of the gate. So you need to have the ancillary things that come with running a speaking business. And for me, that meant having a book, right, that I could sell from the front of the room and the back of the room. It also meant next steps of courses and programs that I could lead people to, which ended up creating this incredible network that became the Need a Guest community, because I had been building relationships and connections with people who needed guests and people who wanted to speak. And so that was that magnet. You have a topic, you need stages. I have a bunch of people who have stages, they need speakers. And so I got to become the matchmaker in the middle.
So you just brought up something really interesting. So a lot of people think about, they have this great stuff. They might have this great program, this great idea, this great information, and maybe they don't have a book yet. They've been thinking about writing a book or something like that. You just kind of flipped a switch in my head there for a second, because, I just published a book, my first solo book, and thank you. And, I did that as an afterthought, as a lead magnet, because a lot of people use their book as a lead magnet. Like you said, it's something to sell in the back of the room. Mm-hmm. I honestly never thought about, what, with the book, it's time to go on a speaking circuit and start getting on podcasts, start getting on that stuff. As you said, the Need a Guest was, it kind of all built up based on the fact that you started there, got the book, started the speaking, and then there was the need for okay, great, I got your book. What's next? How do I learn more from you? And you said, okay, so I've got this program, and you build up from there. And I'm not sure that I've heard a lot of people talk about, especially for coaches and consultants, that process. It's usually you go in, you dig in, you create your signature program, you go out there and you offer it to as many people as you can in all kinds of different ways. The whole idea of, well, just get up and be on the stage and provide value and tell them, hey, in the back of the room, I got this book for sale that it talks about all the stuff that I'm talking about here. And that's great. And then people get the book and they're like, okay, what's next? And I was like, oh, well, yeah, I have this program. It's almost like a process for building your business.
It's a simple way to create demand. And so if you're out and if you're speaking on a topic, getting booked on podcasts, speaking somewhere, people are going to want to know what's next. So if what comes next is the book, and I think a lot of times people think that the book is just a lead magnet, a bit oversized business card, right? I used to hear that there's no money in books, and I used to believe that for myself as well, until I figured out how to make money using podcasts to sell my books. So here's what this looks like, Regina. Just for example, you now have this fabulous book. If you created a virtual book tour leveraging podcasts, I just talked to one of the co-authors of a very soulful, soupy series last week. And he said when they first published their book, they went, and each of them, they were co-authors, they each did 5 interviews a week. 5 days a week, one day, right? One day a week, they both did. So they were doing 10 interviews a week to promote their book. So imagine you were doing, just for a short run, 5 days a week, 2, 3, 5 days a week, you were out promoting your book. In every interview, people are going to buy your book, right? Because you don't have to sell books. People like to connect with the authors. So 7 book sales a day, 7 over the course of 90 days is about $15,000 in sales. That's math. That's
Never
some
thought
fun
about
math.
that.
Right? And Regina, they don't have to book sales calls with you. They don't get on your calendar. This is true passive revenue. So you get to go out, you speak every single day to an audience, selling a handful of books. And when we start to do the math, so we have our clients do 2 interviews a week. If you sold 25 copies 2 times, 25 is the magic number for the algorithm that triggers if you're using a very big e-commerce website store that started out by selling books. Right? They then become your marketing partner. You trigger the algorithm once you sell 25 units to start getting extra marketing and PR from their buyers, which are about 4 million a day. So if you can create this buzz, and the reason why most authors don't sell more than 500 copies of their books, or the reason why most authors don't make any money from their books, is they don't talk about it once it's been published. Where are they going to talk about it? They already told their friends and family. Being a podcast guest every single day, we get about 100 requests a week inside of our Need a Guest group for guests for podcasts. And so you'll never run out. We kind of have 4 categories that podcast hosts are looking for, and we call it health, wealth, love, and woo. So anything in one of those like 4 categories, you'll end up. And for you, if you are really talking about helping people to craft their message and to get their message out and why that's so important, it's a high demand topic. So get you out, promote your book. People will let you promote books. Like if you go to an event and everybody's selling programs, $1,000 program, $1,000 program, the audience gets weary. But if you have 100 authors get up and talk about add value, and by the way, I do have a book, nobody gets weary of buying books, right? I mean, you can buy all the books from all the authors all day long and nobody feels sold to. So there's a lot of money in books. Podcasting works especially well for authors. And then next steps, right? Once you have that lead, you get to take them further into what I like to call your sales castle.
I love that. And I love that term, sales castle. That's a cool term. I've never heard that before. You said like a ton of gold in there. And honestly, I've never thought about that before. And even with mine, let me ask you a question about that though.
Okay.
I know a lot of people who are authors because they have a chapter in a collaborative book.
Right.
Are they just as popular, or is a solo book more, is it a solo book you want to go out there and really get known on these podcasts?
So love the idea of anthologies, right? It's a great way to dip your toe into becoming an author, right? You only have to write 1 chapter and you're all marketing for each other. And so you create this nice community and this nice vibe, get that bestseller ranking. They probably do some PR, you get some press releases. So I love the idea of an anthology. But what I am talking about is you being the expert who wrote the book on it. So even if you have a chapter, I always want to, I call it your food book, Regina. It's the book that puts food on the table. This is you, you're the star, you're the expert. And I love it. So when I was in broadcasting, I would introduce right here today, we have Regina. She's going to, be the expert. In fact, she wrote the book on it, right? So we're introducing Angel. She's talking about media and PR. In fact, she wrote the book on it. So I love it, even if you've been an anthology. And I've done probably 15 anthologies, right? Like the best way to promote a current book is publish your next one. And so it's fun, but you do it for the community. You do it for the other group authors that you're in there. I was in one that had over 262 authors in it.
That's a lot of authors.
Yeah, 550 page book. It's the thick one back here. It's like a phone book. Yeah, it's huge. But imagine you have 200 women all promoting and supporting each other, and you have book signing events and rallies together. But I'm not making any money in those book sales. Where I'm going to actually get the most bang is when I promote my own book, sell my own book, and have that book attract my tribe back to me. And so I think about it like if you think about the music industry, you hear a song on the radio, you like it, right? I could listen to it for free whenever it comes on the radio. But if I like it, I go and buy it. It's like buying your book, right? So now I have it. So I could go and hear you and watch you stream live every day for free, but I really like you. I want more of you. I'm going to buy your book. Now, right, I really like you. I'm going to invest in your course or figure out what else you have. It's like going to the concert. Exact same songs, right? But completely different experience that I'm going to invest higher in for that higher experience, even though it's the exact same song I could hear for free on the radio.
I love that analogy. Can I use that analogy? That was
I've shared it. Yeah. It was just like people, because my clients come to me and they're like, Angel, it's the same thing. I say the same thing live. I wrote about it in my book. Do I teach about it in my course? What do I talk about in my mastermind? I mean, it's the same. You go deeper, you have more stories, you have more experience that goes with it. But it's this, you want to be known, like focus on one core topic, one core platform for 1 year, one customer, right? If you do that for 1 year, your business will scale. This is how you scale to 6 and 7 and even 8 figures. The challenge with us entrepreneurs, we get bored with our own stuff. So I'm like, I got to come up with something new. I got to do something different. And it never lands. It never sticks. I'll tell you, Regina, when I was a public speaker, I was traveling and a lot of the speakers would go to the same events. You'd see the same speakers. And the night before, no joke, these speakers were they were doing their PowerPoints, trying to figure out what they were going to speak about the next day, putting their opt-in together. I'm like, stick with the same topic. And this was what my speaker coach said. Your first 100 stages are practice. Same message, same topic, 100 stages. Do that. Do you know that 100 stages is 2 a week? Which is what we teach our podcast clients to do 2 interviews a week. That's 100 stages. Practice, stay in your lane, stay focused, and watch your business soar.
I really, really, really love that whole process that you've got there. And honestly, never really considered it in that way.
Mm.
So, I mean, I've been on a ton of podcasts and same topic. So my stuff for the past year has been building up to the book and getting the book published. And now it's all about the book and then the program. Like you said, I have all of that stuff. And right now I can tell you, I'll be honest with even my crowd here. I was like, I am promoting it about this much. When you said, we don't promote our book anymore. Yeah, about this much right now. and you're absolutely 100% right. It's the more people you get it out in front of. And, we all think that, I've been on lives, I've been on tons of podcasts. I'm not sure if I've been on 100 or more. I don't know over the years that I've been doing them. I don't even think it's 100 though. And, when you think about it, it's that 100 is your practice. That is actually really cool because by the time you get so fluent at just getting on and speaking, then that's when the magic happens. Yeah. And, I actually get people on Coffee with Regina all the time going, wow, I really love that chat. It wasn't like this formal interview with, hey, give me 3 questions to ask you and all that. I said, no, we're going to have a cup and a chat with purpose. That's what we do here because, it's laid back. And when you start getting fluent with your audience and who you're working with, that is when the magic happens. And I just love the way you put it there because I don't think people regularly think about that. So let's talk about need a guest.
Let's.
Right there.
I love it. Yeah. So need a guest. It's a free Facebook community. So it's free. We started it in 2020 when people were coming to me saying, Angel, I need a guest. And I was constantly texting and DMing and putting people together, created the community where I would say to them, post in here what you need, and I'll invite my friends. And if it hit 1,000 members, I was going to be thrilled. In about 2 years, it crossed over 10,000 members. And when it crossed over 10,000 members, Regina, I realized I was really onto something because it was just a community I was building for myself. I was just trying to make my life easier. But I was still speaking on podcasts. I still do 2 interviews a week. The group was growing, and it was very specifically, my clients started coming to me saying, I only want to speak on podcasts. And in 2020, of course, everybody needed a guest because everybody was home doing virtual stuff. But over the years, it has shifted a little bit of the demand for guests, because now it's harder to get booked on really good shows because they are full of guest requests. So we've really been able to create this really valuable community where you're networking with these hosts, right? You build relationships with people before you need them. Right? We would tell you that in media as well. Connect with journalists before you need them, right? Build relationships. If you come into the community and you start networking and adding value, being a guest, posting your need for guests, you're going to start to build up a familiarity, and people do business with people they know, like, and trust. So just this week, that group crossed over 39,000 members, Regina.
Wow, amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, so it's a really streamlined group. It's really simple. We only allow for 2 types of posts. Either I need a guest or I want to be a guest. No other fluff and mess in there. So it's easy to connect. 39,000. We're going to cross over 40K pretty soon. Probably, before the end of the year, which I'm pretty excited about. And what I do is I just network with podcast hosts all the time. I want to connect with hosts who need guests, because the more hosts that I have in my network, the easier it is for my clients to get booked, because our clients come to us. We help them get booked on podcasts. And our promise is 50 podcasts in 6 months, which is 2 podcasts a week for 6 months. And if I've got more podcast guests or hosts, I can fulfill on my promise.
I love that. And that is an amazing community. Almost 40,000. Oh my
Isn't that
gosh.
wild? Isn't
That
that
is
wild?
huge. Yeah. And I know, because I've been out there both putting my name under people who said I'm looking for a guest. And I've also posted saying I need a guest. I posted one time that I needed a guest for Coffee with Regina because I was planning out. Right now I'm booked through February of next year.
Oh,
So,
wow.
it's from different places, not just from there, but every time I go out, it's like, if I need a guest or go, oh, wow, somebody just canceled and, can't do Coffee with Regina next week. I know I can go out into Need a Guest and say, hey, I'm looking for a guest next week. Here's the audience. Here's what we do. I'm looking for people who can add value to this audience. If that's you, let me know in the comments. And instantly, I mean, I'd send a post out in your group, and it's got to be because, almost 40,000 people. Within minutes, I've got, 5, 10, 15 people going, okay, I'm here. Let me know. Maybe I'm right. It's amazing. So even if you're the podcaster looking for guests, you can't not be in need a guest. You have to be in this group. You have to go. If you have not checked it out, you know what? Anybody who's listening to this on the live or on the replay, go out and join it now. Maybe we'll get her over the 40,000 mark.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. I'm going to do a fun, so we have in our 39,000, I did a little video, and if you comment in that video, I will shout out to you when we do our 40K announcement. And so, I can't believe, like, it's grown so much. But in this last couple of years, I partnered up with a business partner who is just a genius at copywriting and marketing and technology in the back end. And so he and I partnered up about 1.5 years ago. We created a whole new offer called Media Firestorm. And we've just been like blinders on. I haven't been doing anything else but building up this community and building up our new program. And it pays off, right? When you focus, when you stay in your lane.
Well, I know you and I are going to have to talk about getting my book out there now that I'm like, wow, that's brilliant. I love that. It's brilliant. I didn't even think about going that way, and now I am. And it's with all the stuff that's out there in your group. I mean, this is like, it doesn't cost anybody anything to go out in your group.
No, it's absolutely free. You can connect directly with guests and directly with hosts, and you'll stay busy, right? Like there's plenty in there. You will stay busy. You'll fill up your calendar, and it's exciting to see the results from that. And so I think a lot of times when our clients, they're like, well, why wouldn't I just use the free group? I want you to use the free group. But you can also be really busy. If you want the easy button and you want to streamline it and you don't want to actually search and wait for results, we will connect you directly with those hosts internally. So we curate out of that group our podcast hosts. They fill out, they add their information into a database. So we have an exclusive database that allows our clients to connect directly with those hosts. And a lot of them give us so we have their email, we have their application, we have their calendar link. So it makes it really easy for our clients to get booked. And so in your first 10 days, we get you booked on 10 podcasts in your first 10 days. And then you're off to the races. It's pretty exciting.
Oh, we're going to definitely have to talk about that offline. So if I got all this right because we are just about out of time. So if I got all this right, just from a backup on the tips. So you need to know who your audience is. You need to know what it is that your story is, your focus, that one thing that you want to present, that you're going to stick with. It's that main thing that you do. It's your core genius.
Yes.
Stick with that. Know who that audience is.
Yes.
And then get on as many podcasts as you can that deal with that type of content and have that audience listening.
Absolutely. And they're out there. I mean, how beautiful is that to speak to your target audience? And because now you go where you belong, where you fit in. You don't want to show up to a cat podcast and tell them why dogs are amazing, right? You want them to just love you, want to just soak up all your stuff. Like, these are your raving fans, and they're already listening to somebody else's show.
This is so great. So it's so needed. So I will make sure that this link here for Need a Guest is underneath all of our areas on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on YouTube to make sure everybody can connect. And is there any parting words you'd like to bestow on our listeners today?
Absolutely. I mean, don't be afraid of it. Like, when is the best time to start? Today. There are people out there searching for you. They're crying for your message. And we just need more people to show up and share. There's just not enough people sharing in the world. You think that there are, but there just are not enough. So if you've ever felt like you have a message to share, start today. Somebody is looking for you.
I love that message. That is perfect. So with that, thank you so much for being with me today. I've totally enjoyed this conversation, and we have to talk further.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Regina. It was my honor to start my day with you.
Oh, thanks for being here. And thanks everybody else if you're catching us live or catching us on the replay, and we'll see you next time on Coffee with Regina. Bye for now.